watching 4's Enuff Podcast.
One of our favorite podcast people, Christina P. From Your Mom's House, Where Your Mom's At, all that good stuff. You know, Married to Tom Segura. She actually had an accident and hurt her ankle. The crazy thing is her husband just had horrible accidents himself. Yeah. We got some videos here where they're going to explain it a little more and we're going to talk about it. So let's start with the first video.
Let's recap the story together. I will say this. I'll start and then you can take over. So Sunday evening, it was a Sunday evening. I remember I went over to watch the fight, the Mayweather Jake Paul fight with friends, and then Logan Paul. The other one of them is accused by the New York Times of being.
All right. So basically, what he's saying right here is he was just planning on going over to the fight. That's how his day's going.
The Logan Paul and Mayweather put on their exhibition. I come home. You're already in bed. It's not that late. It's probably like 11 or something.
Here's the thing, Gene.
Yeah.
Now, I just done my weekend in Chomaha.
Right.
So I didn't sleep the night before. I was really exhausted.
Mm-hmm.
I just collapsed into the bed.
Oh, I bet. And I'll tell you this. I had my doubts about going to watch the fight only because of how tired I was. Because what happened was when you were gone, of course, I had more dad duty. I didn't sleep well Friday night. I slept worse Saturday night. So I was like, I should just stay at home. But I decided to go. And I came home, and the best thing that I could hear was you're like, oh, tomorrow I'm going to take the boys to summer camp. Like, I'm going to take them in the morning. And I was like, oh my God. I started to get a boner about how much sleep I was going to get, because I knew I was sleep deprived. And I was like, I'm going to sleep 9 hours tonight. Like, I started to get like a rush from it. I was like, you know what I mean? When you know you're going to sleep.
So basically, what's going on now is life's still normal. He's thinking about getting a lot of sleep. She's off away doing stand-up. And, injuries are far, far from their mind.
So like I said, it's 2 a.m. It's a new house, so you're not like oriented to like the way when you live in a house for years. All the lights are off. And I'm like, you keep saying my name, so I run to the stairwell, and I'm like, what? And you're like, I think I sprained my ankle. And so I go down the stairs, and I see you sitting there. And you're like, turn the light on.
Well, here's the thing. I think there was a partial hall light on.
All right, so now it's happened. She thinks she sprained her ankle, but they don't quite know the severity of it. She's not really hurt that bad.
Wake up early tomorrow. This is going to be great. And then 2 o'clock in the morning, I hear you just say, ow, just like that. And I want to put this, like, people who have lived with other people for a long time understand that there are like screams and shouts and things that are familiar. And to me, it sounded like a familiar, like, I just ran into a coffee table, or we have little kids, there's toys everywhere. You go, ow, and then you're like, there's a fucking fire truck in the hallway? You know what I mean? Like, it was that type of ow. It wasn't an alarming, call for your...
All right, so again, he's saying it's not alarming. It's kind of like he's probably thinking she stumped her toes,
stepped on a Lego.
Yeah, something like that.
For you to be like, this fucking thing. And then you just go, ow, like the second time. And I'm like, I'm just sitting there like, I'm starting to wake up because I heard you. And then the thing that made me sit up was you started to call me by name. You started to go, Tom, and I sat up and I'm like, what? And
is that how it's serious? Is when I say your name? Like,
yeah,
is that? Is that? I just didn't know what I sound like when I'm being serious.
Well, you started to say my name, and then you said it twice, and I sit up, and then you started to say it more. And so as I stand up and start walking towards you, you're continuing to say it. So I run down the hall.
So now he's a little worried. He's like, what's going on? Is she okay? He still don't know.
When you came down and I put my arm up, I'm like, just fucking help me up. I can't get up. And the look on your face.
Well, because you go, I got a sprained ankle, and I turned the light on, and I was like, that's not sprained.
All right, so obviously it looked bad. We'll put some pictures up right here. We'll see her ankle, see her getting with the medic. They're in their new house. She didn't know where she was at. It was dark, 2 o'clock in the morning. I think one of the most funny things they were talking about was the doctors and the medics kept asking, how did you fall down the steps? Like they were trying to get her to tell on Tom.
Right.
Like, they probably pushed her down the steps.
Well, you remember, I believe it was our son's 3rd birthday party. I stepped off of some steps and dislocated my ankle.
Yes, and it was bad. And as soon as I saw her with her foot hanging up in the air, dangling, I picked our son up and walked away and I let her parents handle her.
Yes. It was pretty bad. So I heard the pop, and I'm just amazed that Christina wasn't in more pain.
Well, tell the people what kind of surgery and stuff you had.
Well, I ended up having a dislocation with a triple fracture, which they said was very rare. Luckily, they did not try to pop it in and call the orthopedic surgeon that was on call, and he did surgery and ended up putting probably a 6 to 8 inch rod in my leg with about 7 screws up one side, and the other side has 3 screws going into my foot and ankle to keep part of my bone on and to deal with that triple fracture. So, and I walk great today. I don't really have any issues whatsoever. So hopefully she won't have any issues once she gets healed.
Yeah, and Tom actually has another surgery coming up on his arm.
Right. Which he had some nerve damage on his arm, so that may be why he's having surgery or something. So, yeah. Like, subscribe,